The big news happening off the track, Special Tay suspended by the league for trying to bring a loaded handgun onto a plane. The legal implications are still unraveling. We're unsure, but Special Tay has released a statement. The founding fathers dreamt of a country where you could bring a loaded gun onto a plane. It's why they told the Queen to leave all those years ago. Now that she is finally dead, we should not have to live in fear of punishment for simply living by and loving the Constitution. So a few things wrong with that, but you can kind of expect that from the banana brains himself. And I know that's not a slur. We got a big picture of him with a banana and he's having a good time. So we will update more as that develops. But first, let's turn our attention to the track where it deserves to be. 9/11 Tribute Series, I mean, what a rocking start to it. Mr. Kid Rock himself, that was an electric. That's how you celebrate 9/11. I'm sorry for saying it's celebrating, but boy, oh boy, when you have artists like Kid Rock representing America, you race well afterwards. And you see Donald Hogg just charged up by that. And that's worth celebrating. You know, I was in the front row getting a face full of sound thanks to Mr. Bow to the Bow Wow. Here's Dolph, and sounds a lot like how he speaks, but he was an MK2 fill-in, and boy, oh boy, did he shock with a little bit of excitement here. Second place. Felt like a fluke at the time, shelling Sexy Bacon, who we know is a premier racer. But as we saw as the day developed, maybe not so much of a fluke. Right here, leading again. First lap, he's just dominating, hasn't given up position, and he's just looking to make a statement today. Donald Hogg struggling through those pipes, maybe that big bulky frame not working well for him. As he goes around, can't resist eating a banana. I don't know if they have those on the Golden Corral menu, but they definitely don't have these bombs on there, and he eats one of those as well. But, you know, he salvaged a little bit going into that third lap, gets the shortcut, gets a star, and he's in okay position to hold on and stay competitive. Didn't fall too far back, but Dolph is just running away with this one. And as he comes into the final corner, we get a little special feature. And I know that a movie studio might be paying $50 million for this feature, but MK1 gets it for free. And oh boy, Dolph just barely holds on to that first place, but a player first would have been sweet. And here's Sexy Bacon behind it. Sort of experiencing again what he experienced in the parking lot with me, chest to chest, blow for blow. Just not coming out on top after that. So an 8th place finish, really ugly. Going on to the third race, Dolph showing some pressure, showing some nerves. He absolutely explodes on the line, but after a couple of laps, he starts to fight back in. That beautiful shell work on Sexy Bacon drops him from second place. Starts getting hit with item after item. Donald Hogg up in front, the blue shell hitting him hard. And now we've got a bit of an exciting finish in our hands. Dolph is far behind, but close enough with the right items that he could potentially pull this off. Boy, oh boy, and does he get the right one? That beautiful mushroom work. And unless there's some risky business, comes in first place. Beautiful to see. He's in the driver's seat, 6 points up. He just needs to come in third place to guarantee this improbable first place finish. Rachel is making it hard for him. She's in a battle with Donald Hogg. Going into the second lap, Dolph is quite far back. He needs to make up a lot of ground, but in the third lap, we see it all unfold. Donald Hogg in first place, easily just dominating Excitebike, and it's going to be down to the final few finishes just to see how Dolph does. Rachel in front of him with the red shell could cause a lot of trouble, but Dolph gets all the item protection in the world. Easily finishes in third place, exactly what he needs, and he just beats out this incredible racer in Donald Hogg by 1 point. Dolph, you just landed here, first time in America just a day ago, and then you got 200,000 fans cheering your name. How does it feel? Yeah, actually it's very cool for me to be in America. Sort of before this event we were playing Hansi football in the parking lot, and it's very fun for me. Everyone's saying, you know, you need to stop running. I've touched you with my 2 hands, and of course what I'm saying to them is, well, yeah, I'm not going to give up the ball or stop running, because it seems that you stopped touching me with the 2 hands, and that's so much fun for me. And of course, it's sort of the parallels, you think, reminds me of a game we used to play in Sweden very much, and I'd sort of take a big blanket and we'd wrap someone up with it, and it would be a very fun time for us. Yeah, so what are you thinking going on the track against sort of the giants of the sport, Donald Hogg, Sexy Bacon, Marky Mark? How does it feel to be out there and to best them in your first event ever? Yeah, it's very cool for me. I mean, Donald Hogg really had the great race out there, and it's very fun to be on the track with him and just sort of see the sort of humbling things that he does for me. But you know, the big thing for me was Sexy Bacon is really not too impressive for me when I'm really thinking about what he does out there. You know, he truly is a god on the sport in the first 2 seasons, but you know, out there it seems like he's really lost a step, and it was sort of a don't meet your heroes sort of situation for me. All right, well, good luck in the next event, and you know, looking forward to seeing how your MK2 and hopefully future MK1 career sort of unfolds. So thank you for meeting with us. Yeah, absolutely. No, of course. Starting off the Quiplash Invitational, we start in the 3rd lap. Sexy Bacon hits a banana peel, then a big blue shell comes. Still in first place, seemed to recover well, but that's when things start to unravel. Nice shell by Marky Mark. Donald Hogg passes. Got a big piece of shell pie waiting for them around the corner. So for Sexy Bacon, the uncharacteristic move, throwing a bomb forward, driving right into it. Things are just falling apart, but they're not falling apart for Marky Mark, who can't even see the track, but has driven it so many times. Boy, oh boy, isn't that sweet to watch. That's a pure racer. Mr. Reliable himself coming in first. Donald Hogg an easy 2nd place, or so we think. I mean, let's turn back the clock a little bit and see how that transpired. In 3rd place, Donald Hogg hits Dolph with a green shell, drops the bomb on him. And in a matter of seconds, Dolph goes from an easy 2nd place, a big blue shell coming, to falling back all the way into 9th place. So it's a humbling lesson for the kid. Then in the next race, this is the first time back on Royal Raceway since the disastrous weekend by Sexy Bacon in the final weekend last year. Not a lot of respect on the track. Being bumped around by Rachel. Racers are just happy and excited to bump into him. Dolph, no clue what he's doing here, no clue what's going on between his ears, but to be quite honest, I talked to him, I had no clue then as well. But this is where, you know, lightning comes into play. Sexy Bacon struck at the worst time at 5th or 6th place going into that gap. Could have potentially got some items to jump up into 3rd, 2nd, but Dolph had to start at the right time. Raced most of this race in 10th and 11th, but just that perfect timing was just enough to get lucky, pull off the improbable 1st place finish. Shells Rachel for good measure, and Donald Hogg slides into 2nd place. In the back, I mean, we see Sexy Bacon trying to recover, but at this point in the race, it's way too hard. A 10th place finish, and if we're talking about the 3 stars, this has not been their best race, not a single one on the top of the podium, and Marky Mark in 11th. It's just not good, but going into the 3rd lap of the 3rd race, see these two getting into it. I mean, it's not fun for Sexy Bacon out there with Dolph, and boy, oh boy, Marky Mark is just absolutely the comeback kid in this case. 11th place last race, but just a perfect place lightning for him. Everyone else over the gap. Solidifies a nice 1st place finish, and that's just great to see. Once again, Donald Hogg in 2nd place. Hasn't stood on top of the podium all event, but he's able to have enough points to realistically win this one. Dolph knocking out Sexy Bacon, just a big problem all week. But Yoshi Soar is really the star of the show this one, and it's kind of satisfying for those women of racing. I mean, just putting Sexy Bacon in his place. So, I mean, Yoshi Soar, boy oh boy. This is improbable maybe a couple years ago, but I think it might be a little routine seeing Yoshi Soar and Rachel Soar. Marky Mark coming in 3rd place, and of course Donald Hogg in 4th. And Donald Hogg only beats Marky Mark in one event, but that was such a disastrous event on Marky Mark's part that 11th place puts him down into 2nd place. But as we look at the leaderboard, Donald Hogg in 1st place, Marky Mark in 2nd, Yoshi Soar and Rachel Soar in 3rd. So racers get 15 points for each 1st place, 12 points for each 2nd place, and 10 points, etc., etc. So Donald Hogg, although he did come in 2nd technically in the 1st event, since it was an MK2 racer that beat him, those points can't count towards anything. So the 2nd place bumps up to the 1st. Also explaining the extra point that some racers have. There are time trials in between these events, and sometimes you get an extra point if you fall in the top 3. So Donald Hogg, Sexy Bacon, and Tanis all grabbed a point from that time trial earlier this week. But looking at the board as it is, it's shocking to see Sexy Bacon in 5th place. Shocking to see that 9th place finish from him last event. And there's a lot of questions for the season. I know that he is ready to go next week. We have big faith in Sexy Bacon, but boy, oh boy, if next weekend is tough for him and he's not on that podium first or second, it's going to be tough. We've never seen a gap this big between Sexy Bacon and Donald Hogg. This is a racer who was prolific in his first 2 seasons and quite a good racer in his third one. So to start off like this, it's really tough for him, and there's going to be a lot of questions to answer, but we'll get into those on the drift, and we'll move on to MKS's inaugural opening weekend. Starting things off with the Big Boy Speedway Classic, and boy oh boy, those Carter brothers, Midas, Pam, it's a lot of sweet thing, and boy oh boy, that's a shit-eating grin if I've ever seen one. I think I know what he's doing with Pam. He's probably pretty happy, so this is one man who's not quite as happy, but the action between them just so exciting. Pam and Midas just dueling it out on the track, and I mean, wow. They let Midas go, they let Shell go, they let Slam go. Pam never had a chance to race on MK1, and you're just seeing this exciting racing between them. And boy, oh boy, this was just, I mean, Midas was a man on a mission. First place, he just dominated that event. Meanwhile, you have the exciting Lucky just coming up, and this is his first race on the track, getting a 3rd place, not bad. So that was a racer that really impressed us. Moving on to Mario Circuit, the same sort of stuff is unfolding. Midas hit with a blue shell, and here comes Pam. She drops a bomb for him. Later on, she drops a nice banana peel for him to eat, and she comes in first, barely squeaking by. Midas just has like a nice comfy 2nd place right behind is Shell Carter. So moving on to Yoshi's Circuit, more of the same. The Pam and Midas show, we love it. So I know we were called losers by a former producer who will remain nameless, but you know, this is why we're talking about it. This is electric TV, and look at that banana peel in the final corner. Midas holding on for first. He's in the driver's seat for the final event. He just needs to come in first, or at least finish ahead of Pam. And boy, oh boy, it is action on the track. Double shells. Pam, just not quite her race, gets shelled and is falling a little bit behind. And I think that this one was earmarked for Slam, but just misses, and I guess at least hitting one dork is good enough for Midas. He's fist pumping and he crosses the line easily. 1st place. He's dominated the Big Boy Classic, and jumping now into the Saudi Open though. And we didn't see a lot of Shell last event, but he started to come out in a big way. I mean, Dry Desert, just dominating, leading for quite a long period of time, and doing it with a lot of class and style. But Pam, this is the final corner, and Pam's got a couple shells for him. Possible, but oh, she gets caught with a shell herself, no protection. Shell is able to recover, come in 1st place. Midas looks like he's got the 2nd place wrapped up, but Slam's got a shell for him, and it's this Carter brother dynamic that we're going to see a lot in the 2nd event. Pam struggling and falling back all the way into 6th place, her worst finish of the day. So going on to the Calamari Desert. This is just an event with a lot of open road to drive on and a lot of chaos that comes from it. Shell doing pretty well, but falling quite behind Pam. Pam's just dominating most of this race. We see in the back of the pack the other racers having a lot of fun. We got Comeback Koopa, we got Lucky. Oh boy, look at those moves. And we just have, I don't know, just a lot of chaos and a lot of fun. Here we have Slam start at the right time. Pam shelled by Shell, but just too much of a distance to make up, and is able to hold on to that 1st place, but Shell Carter is not able to hold on to the 2nd. Slam Carter comes in and he just steals it at the last minute. So Shell Carter still with a good lead, but it's definitely narrowed off of that. Then on Bone Dry Dunes, Pam and Midas are back at it again, and I mean, are you gonna expect anything else this season? These two hate each other, and boy oh boy is it a lot of fun to watch. I mean, going over the gap, he's doing his little dance, he's having fun, and he's got a special delivery for Pam. And here comes Midas, and it's just return to sender for him. And here they come over the gap, final lap. This is just one of the biggest gaps, and absolutely shelled by Pam. It seems like Pam has got this in the bag, but the dork cometh, and just a squeaker of a finish. 1st place for Shell Carter going into the final event. Boy oh boy, Shell just needs to come in 3rd place, and he has got this wrapped up. But first, look at these clowns going through the waterfall. It's not good, but these are rookie racers, and they're learning on the track, so they're having a good time. But, the big time racers, they're up in front, and they're causing trouble. And look at these Carter brothers come over the gap. Boy, oh boy, was that fun. And here we go. Oh, a little bit of action. That's fun, but Pam is she's got first place. She's dominating, and she is looking like an easy first place. So now she just needs Slam or somebody to stop Shell from coming in third. The fourth place would be a sudden death event, but it's just not enough. Shell just barely squeaking by for that third place finish, making sure that he finishes on top, and a hell of an exciting finish for so many different races throughout that weekend. But boy, oh boy, Shell Carter sits in first place, King Midas in second, Pamela in third, and Slam, Lucky are both racers that caused a lot of trouble on the track. We're excited to see how this one turns out, but I know that some of those racers, T-Money's going to shoot up the board. She's a professional quality racer, and she has got that Champions League in her sight. Comeback Kid surprised us all a little bit, and I think that Bebo and Bloshi just have a little bit of work to do. We saw some of that waterfall work by Bebo, but good on him for staying on board the track. But looking at the teams, JD Corp with their big purchase of Shell Carter and Lucky, those two are paying off in spades right now with the 53 points on the board. Bebo holding things close. Morton Construction, a hell of a top heavy team, but Bloshi might pull them back a little bit. And Burning DK, everybody's close, so I'm not going to overreact, but a third place finish despite getting their big spender, King Midas. So a lot to look at and a lot to talk about going forward, and we look forward to seeing exactly how this season unfolds. If it's anything like it was this first weekend, going to be a lot of exciting stuff to discuss.